3 random shootings in the US kill 9 people and injure several others. New ASU Center aims to showcase Muslim contributions and accomplishments in the US. Jewish Google worker quits, accusing company of environment of fear for employees who support Palestine. Blacks and Asians wait longer than whites in the United Kingdom health system. The last member of isolated Brazilian tribe found dead. Mikhail Gorbachev, who helped end the Cold War and Soviet Empire, dead at 91. From Washington, D.C., this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hena Zuberi. Our top story tonight. On Sunday, the U.S. witnessed 3 separate random mass shootings in which 9 people were killed, authorities said. In Detroit, a man started firing at people appearing without any reason Sunday morning, shooting 4, police reported. 3 people, 2 women, and 1 man ended up dead when an 80-year-old man who urged the shooter to stop was wounded, the statement read. Authorities said that the shootings appeared to be random and they had not found any connections between the victims. The shooter was taken into custody. In Houston, a man set fire to multiple homes and then started firing on people fleeing the blazes, killing 3. He also shot at firefighters at the scene before the police arrived and shot the man dead. In Oregon, a 3rd random shooting killed 3 people on Sunday. A new center aims to advance research and deepen public knowledge on the history of Muslims and their contribution to American society and culture. The recently launched Center of Muslim Experience in the United States at Arizona State University will facilitate belonging for Muslim students at ASU. It will also work to build mutually beneficial partnerships between Muslim communities nationwide. The center will be housed in the School of Historical, Philosophical, and Religious Studies. It's part of the Humanities Division in the College of Liberal Arts. In the first 3 years, professors will work to develop a faculty and student-led academic project and write a report on global Phoenix and Muslim lives and contributions. The study will document the long history of Muslims in the Valley, their diverse cultures, and their contributions to making Phoenix a uniquely global city. Yasmin Saikia and Chad Haynes, the co-directors of the Center of Muslim Experience in the United States, are joining us on our show later tonight, so keep watching Muslim News. An August 9 decision to add 2 of the holiest Muslim holidays to the next academic year in San Francisco public schools is raising objections. The school board voted to close all schools on Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. But the move has led to objections from some people who said more instruction is needed in schools, not less. Starting in the fall of 2023, public school students will have those days off to celebrate the cultural holidays. Wissam Hag of the Arab Resource and Organizing Center said Muslim students were missing classes and assignments to take those holidays off to be with their families. Only 1 member of the San Francisco United School Board, Ann Sue, voted against adding the holidays. She said there isn't a process in place when selecting which days to take off for holidays. France's top court has greenlighted the expulsion of prominent Imam Hassan Equessin, the country's interior minister said on Tuesday. Gérald Darmanin accused Equessin of propagating anti-Semitic remarks and holding views contrary to equality between men and women. The court overturned an earlier ruling that said Equessin's expulsion would constitute a disproportionate attack towards his private and family life. Now, Equessin is likely to be deported to Morocco. His lawyer, Lucy Simon, said that the interior minister pressured the judiciary into giving the ruling for his deportation. In late July, the Interior Ministry canceled his resident permit for making anti-Semitic and anti-woman comments during sermons or conferences. ECOSAN calls the accusations baseless. On Monday, a man believed to be the last of a remote Brazilian tribe was found dead after years of resisting efforts by the outside world to interact with him. The news sparked mourning amongst activists and conservationists worldwide. The man was known by defenders of indigenous rights as Indian of the Hole, or the Man of the Hole. He was given the name Indio de Buraco due to pits he dug for shelter, concealment, and possibly hunting. The man was the only inhabitant of Tanaru indigenous territory in Rondônia state in the western Brazilian Amazon. People first encountered him 26 years ago. He was believed to be about 60 years old at the time of his death. Rohingya refugees living in Indonesia say they are growing more and more desperate as the prospect of relocating to a third country becomes increasingly remote. Mohammed Hanif, a Rohingya from Burma's Rakhine state, tried to reach Australia from Malaysia by boat in 2013. He was stranded in Indonesia, where refugees are not allowed to work or attend formal schools. Hanif said he at the time contemplated committing suicide, but support from his parents and religious teachers kept him alive. The 46-year-old father of three said family members kept telling him, "It's a test from God." Rohingya worldwide this month marked the 5th anniversary of the brutal Burmese military offensive that drove 740,000 of their people from Rakhine State. A Jewish Google worker quits, accusing company of environment of fear. Details after the break. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these messages.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Despite the development of a COVID-19 vaccine, millions around the world will not have access. We need a vaccine that's free and available to everyone, everywhere. It's time for a people's vaccine.
Assalamu alaikum! Open up your eyes.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, it's your brother Zain Bika from South Africa. One of the first educational programs ever produced for Muslim children was the ever-popular Adam's World series. The colorful and comical Muslim puppets stole the heart of a generation. Sound Vision will be releasing brand new episodes of Adam's World with the launch of a Adam's World app. Subscribers will enjoy new Adam's World episodes as they are released, as well as all the classic episodes of Adam's World. So visit adamsworldapp.com now to learn more, subscribe, and enjoy new adventures of Adam and his friends. And let's keep helping tomorrow's Muslims today. Assalamu alaikum.
It's Adam's World. Believe me, there's a lot to see. Bismillah. Let's explore.
To stop this genocide, we need your help.
A Jewish Google employee wrote a letter saying that she's leaving the company allegedly because of fear of retaliation for her support of Palestine. Ariel Cohen accused Google of complicity in violations of Palestinian human rights. Google has a $1 billion contract with Amazon and the Israeli government and military. In a letter addressed to colleagues, Cohen accused the company of retaliating against her and other employees who spoke out in support of Palestine. She accused Google of aggressively pursuing military contracts and stripping away the voices of its employees through a pattern of silencing and retaliation. She said it was ignoring employees who want Google to live up to its ethical principles. Cohen described herself as a Jewish Google worker on Medium. A growing number of Bangladeshis are facing chronic stomach diseases due to poor food habits and healthcare. Sales of gastric and anti-acid drugs have skyrocketed, settling new records. Gastric medicines have become the top-selling remedy in Bangladesh for the last 5 years. As many as 90% of residents take them without consulting a doctor, say public health experts. About 360 million in gastric medicines were sold last year, a 30% growth according to a recent study by Bangla Bandhu Sheikh Mujib Medical University. About 45% of gastric ulcers in Bangladesh are due to excessive use of gastric medication. Consuming excessive amounts of gas medicine causes calcium, magnesium, vitamin 12, and iron deficiencies, according to the report. An investigation has revealed disturbing racial divides in the UK's healthcare system. Asians and blacks wait longer for diagnoses than white people, according to a new study. An investigation by the University of Exeter and the Guardian newspaper analyzed cancer cases over a period of 10 years. In 6 of 7 cancers studied, ethnic minority patients on average waited longer than white patients. The median wait time for white patients with first-time symptoms of cancer receiving a diagnosis was 55 days after meeting a general practitioner. For black people, it was 60 days, and for Asian people, it was 61 days. On Tuesday, a top Indian court closed all proceedings related to the 2002 Gujarat riots, in which more than 1,000 people were killed, and the 1992 demolition of the Babri Masjid. A 3-judge Supreme Court panel led by Chief Justice UU Lalit said trials in 8 of the 9 cases involving the 2002 Gujarat riots have concluded. The Gujarat riots were sparked by a fire in a train in Godhra in 2002, which killed 59 Hindu pilgrims coming from Ayodhya. Muslims were blamed by Hindus for their role in the train fire. It led to Hindu rioters hacking, raping, and burning to death more than 1,000 Muslims. Another apex court branch ordered the suspension of all proceedings in the 1992 demolition of the Babri Masjid in Ayodhya in the state of Uttar Pradesh. A larger bench of the Supreme Court had already pronounced a verdict on the Ayodhya matter. The 400-year-old Babri Masjid was razed to the ground on December 6, 1992, by a Hindu mob claiming the mosque was built on the birthplace of the Hindu deity, Ram. On Tuesday, former Soviet Union President Mikhail Gorbachev, whose gradual opening of his country paved the way for the end of the Cold War and the collapse of the Communist Empire, died. He was 91. Gorbachev died following a serious and long illness, officials at Moscow Central Clinical Hospital told Russian state media. In a statement, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres called the former Soviet Union leader a one-of-a-kind statesman who changed the course of history. Guterres said Gorbachev did more than any individual to bring about peaceful end of the Cold War. Gorbachev received the 1990 Nobel Peace Prize for that feat. After the deaths of 3 Soviet Unions in 2 years, Gorbachev took power of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or USSR, in March 1985. At the time, the national economy was declining and the Cold War tensions with the United States were heightened. The United States is providing $30 million more in humanitarian aid to support people affected by severe flooding in Pakistan. The flooding due to heavy monsoon rains, landslides, and glacial lake outbursts since mid-June has affected an estimated 33 million people. It has led to more than 1,100 deaths and over 1,600 injuries. More than 1 million homes have been damaged or destroyed, and nearly 735,000 livestock have perished. The flooding has also damaged roads and more than 2 million acres of agricultural land. The U.S. Agency for International Development's partners will target the funding towards urgent needs such as food, nutrition, cash, safe water, improved sanitation and hygiene, and shelter. Coming up next after the break is our in-depth analysis segment, so stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs, and that's still not enough to put food on the table.
I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Despite the development of a COVID-19 vaccine, millions around the world will not have access. We need a vaccine that's free and available to everyone, everywhere. It's time for a people's vaccine.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
We are Justice for All. Headquartered in the heart of downtown Chicago, Justice for All is a global humanitarian initiative dedicated to raising awareness for human rights concerns impacting vulnerable minority groups. Our diverse team of staff and volunteers, led by Imam Malik Mujahid, work tirelessly to help Justice for All achieve their goals. We promote policies that protect religious freedom, address the root causes of mass displacement, and recognize the plight of refugees and forced migrants. Together, we can continue to stand up for justice. Justice for all.
Welcome back. Let's talk about the new Arizona State University Center, aiming to showcase Muslim contributions and accomplishments in the United States. With Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid. Over to you, Imam Mujahid.
Thank you, Hena. We started Muslim Network Television because what Muslims do in America, who they are, what do they do, what is their life, and what are their accomplishments. Our story and our challenges remain under the ground until somebody somewhere in the universe does something nasty, ha. Then we know here's a Muslim, and first thing they tell you is what's the faith of the person. Well, while we're doing it, we'll introduce somebody who's trying to do similar things. they have established a center at a university, Arizona State University, and the name is Center of Muslim Experience in the United States. And we have the founders and co-directors with us at Muslim Network TV, Yasmin Saikia and Chad Haynes. Welcome to Muslim Network TV.
Thank you for having us. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here today.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Peace be with you. Well, thank you so much for your time. How did you come up with this idea?
We joined ASU in 2010, and I came here as an endowed chair for peace studies. And soon after I joined here, I realized that there was a lot of discussion about Muslims, but not with Muslims. So we started developing research ideas and for publications of books on particularly contributions and the work Muslims are doing worldwide at the very ground level for developing peace and keeping peace among communities. So while we were doing this work, and we wrote 3 books on this, we also include a variety of different case studies, which are not generally concerned with Muslims, but in which Muslims have played a role or have been involved as the victims of violence. So in completing this work, we were thinking on the side by side, actually, we were also very aware that there's a lot of discussion about Muslims in a very negative way, Muslims as threat, particularly to the United States. So we decided that we should put our efforts in rethinking this narrative and creating space for Muslim voice that contributes to both the well-being of America, but also the well-being of Muslims here. We were very fortunate that the university, our upper administration, were very receptive to this idea. And they encouraged us to think of it as a center and not simply as a research project. And that's, from my end, that's how the history of this center came into being and now has become a reality.
So the center is inaugurated this year. And what is it? Center is a building, central. What is this center?
Well, right now it's an intellectual idea. And so it's not a physical space. So we have an office actually within the university and things, but it's a conglomeration. It's a cooperative of faculty that we are bringing together across the university. So we have faculty in journalism, faculty in sociology, in refugee studies, and other fields, computer science as well, coming together to sort of work and collaborate on developing projects. We're bringing in students. So from across the university to sort of participate with us and partner with us to help them succeed in their work as students. And we're also partnering with the community and the larger community, and the ways in which we're sort of envisioning the kind of work we want to do is how we develop these type of partnerships with existing organizations. It's not just documenting them, but it's actually working with them, making them part of the project to give voice to them. So the center is really a conglomeration of ideas, of people, of projects, rather than in a sense of physical space.
Now, the DePaul University in Chicago has Muslim archives. They're collecting stuff for several decades. And in Jackson, Mississippi, there is a Muslim museum. How is it going to be different from what is being already done? I have no complaint or duplication. This is the area more people need to get in. But how does it differentiate?
Chad, do you want to take the question?
That's a good question. And there are a variety of ways. And one is we're research driven. So our idea is to actually conduct research, not just to collect and showcase data or information and the stories that we end up collecting, though that's certainly part of our mission. And I think the other sort of ways we want to do it is sort of how we highlight the personal voices of Muslims themselves and bring them into the narrative about them. As Yasmin sort of mentioned, is not just talking about Muslims, but talking with Muslims, and how do we strengthen their voices. And I do think this idea of, in a sense, replication is extremely important, actually, and that this this story, this idea, this model of representing, of talking about, documenting Muslim American experiences and history and diversity of cultures and contributions to the United States actually needs to be amplified more and more. And each community also has its own sort of locale. Well, our mission is national. We're also embedded in Phoenix area, in Arizona. And so how do we sort of cater to the larger community here and educate them? And so we need a project here. We need one, in a sense, in every state.
And I will add to it that our project being, it's an academic project and has a very strong focus on student development in the university. We are the largest university in the country. Arizona State University is the largest academic university. It has over 120,000 students. So you can imagine
120,000
students enrolled.
Wow, so that should be declared a state in itself?
Yes, it's a city by itself. It's a very large university. So when you make an impact in a place with 120,000 students from the age group of 18 to maybe 40, 45 years going to this university, you actually build something that is vast. You can really have a very vast impact. And our idea is not simply, like I know about the archive project of DePaul and I know the Mississippi Jackson project. They're wonderful projects. And as Chad said, replication or multiplication is very, very important because the narrative against Muslim is so rabid and so proliferated out there that even 3 or 5 or 20 centers are not enough. We need a lot of it. We need to impact the new generation of people so that in the future, we do not continue these kind of stereotypes that threaten the very dignity of Muslims. So we have decided that besides doing the academic work, which is publication or helping students really appreciate their Muslim student peers on campus, is to create a virtual museum, which will be accessible to everybody anywhere in the world. So it is a visualization project on Muslims. Perhaps we will be able to cooperate and also collaborate with both Jackson, Mississippi and DePaul and use and share our resources with them so that we can make a larger story that will have a larger, hopefully, an impact in America. And more Americans see Muslims as Americans. And Arizona, as you know, is a state that is one of the, Phoenix particularly, is one of the fastest growing Muslim community in the country. So as we have so many Muslims, their story needs to be told.
Well, you know, anti-Muslim or skeptical of Islam and Muslim, that's not just an accident. Somebody did a research that Islamophobia machine, organizations and foundations which are funding, close to $200 million is their funding. That's substantial amount of money to create a bad news about Islam and Muslims. How much is your funding?
You have hit the nail on the coffin. Money speaks.
Oh, did you use the word coffin? Don't use that.
Sorry. But it is true that without money, you cannot proliferate the bad news. Likewise, with money, you can proliferate the good news, right? We do need funding for these kind of initiatives.
Yes. So help me visualize. For example, in COVID, President Trump, not a friend of the Muslim community, but he appointed a COVID czar to push the progress of a vaccine, to develop vaccine. Dr. is not a doctor, Munsif Slowi. He was a American Muslim, and he did his job, and he funded people, and vaccine came into being. Inventor of the vaccine, who collaborated with American Pfizer, are both husband and wife are Muslim. The person who projects the data about COVID and how many hospitalization and the projection, what's going to happen if people don't do this or don't do that, Dr. Ali Muqdad, he has been on Muslim Network TV several times. I mean, tremendous contribution of Muslim physician. I remember a young Muslim physician. She, with two young children and mother herself, was, running around 3 hospitals in New York, saving lives, actually head of the task force for Long Island. Help me visualize how you're going to show this in digital virtual museum, this extraordinary contribution at a very difficult time for our nation, which is not over yet.
It's a difficult question and issue, and I think it's one, obviously, that we're struggling with ourselves, how best to sort of amplify these stories. There's so many examples, and not just the ones you've given, but throughout American history, Muslims have been integral to the development and history of the United States, to its making, to its values, to its cultural, its economy, et cetera, and yet constantly these stories are sort of sidelined or silenced. And it's only, we can just sort of chisel out a little by little. And I think the work, obviously, that Muslim Network TV is doing, and many others are doing, as you mentioned, the DePaul and what's going on at the Muslim Museum, that these are important steps and that constantly have to be multiplied. Because it's that recognition. And in many ways, the mere fact that a university has recognized a center of Muslims as Americans is itself a unique development. And this is the changing tide that we see happening. And part of what we want to do is encourage others to continue that tide, to continue to push. And as we said, to sort of multiply that message. And it's really in that multiplication, in that amplification, that the story, the negative story that's being produced by the Islamophobia industry can be countered, and sort of people start to recognize, yes, Muslims are American. Yes, Muslims have contributed to the United States. Yes, Muslims will continue to positively contribute to the future of the United States.
No, and very practically, actually, this visualization that we are doing, as you're saying, how do you visualize these individual stories and collective contributions of Muslims? We are working, that's why Chad said, in collaboration with computer scientists to think about visualization project as a macro kind of data, as well as with art, people who work on art and media and engineering, to think of the micro stories and how to visualize micro stories, like, as you said, about the doctors. So it is to both work at the macro level and micro level and create visualization. This is a new thing that's happening in academia, and we are trying to tap into this through the help of different faculty members who are experts in that field.
Now, your university, I read in your press release of the university that there are over 8,000 Muslim faculty, staff, and students. Don't you think that probably is the highest number of Muslim students in any campus in America?
It is most likely, but universities are not allowed to collect data based on people's religion. So we could probably even have more. This is based on our local mosque here, which is the ICC, the Islamic Cultural Center, which is right on the university campus. So we know from talking to the Imam, who has been meeting so many students, that we have around 8,000 students, faculty, and staff members at the university. The number could be even larger, which certainly then speaks to the fact that ASU, being the largest university in the country, would also have the largest number of Muslim students going in this particular university.
Well, Yasmin, thank you. And Chad Haynes, you have taken up an assignment which is of extraordinary importance. I hope you figure out where the Islamophobes keep their money so you have proper funding here.
Thank you. And I think
we really appreciate this opportunity to talk. And we would hope that your viewers will also become part of this initiative. As you're saying, we have taken on something quite formidable. But we hope that we'll be successful, even in a small measure. I was originally trained in Aligarh Muslim University, and I have been deeply, deeply influenced by Sir Syed's effort. When there was nothing for Muslims, he imagined a new possibility. and has now graduated from that university, Aligarh Muslim University, hundreds and thousands of students who have empowered the community and empowered the world with their work, right? So I hope that following in Sir Syed's footsteps, inshallah, someday we will be able to do something for the Muslim community of America.
God willing. Thank you so much, Professor Haynes, and thank you so much, Yasmin Saika. Look forward to seeing your virtual exhibit. And if there is anything Muslim Network TV can do, we'd love to collaborate. Thank you so much for your time.
We look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Hena.
Thank you so much, Imam Mujahid. That's all from our Washington studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes or more on our YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV and visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.